Welcome to the podcast. We talk about all the things that are hidden in the shadows. This is Isaac.
And this is Megan.
And hey, what's going on?
What's going on?
Hope you liked last week's episode.
Yeah.
So
watch us.
Yes. That's all I forgot for a second.
Yeah.
Not much of a haunted update.
Yeah, not much. Just stuff. We still are going to take you guys on that trail. We just have to get a good time. Plus, it was raining a lot. And that place is known for alligators. And I have actually that place, the haunted trail area, actually had it made the news, this massive alligator that they had to remove from the lake area or river area because it was so big it ate a husky.
People think we're from Florida with that story.
I know. Some of the alligators, I guess, because we don't have that many here, but there are some because we do have swampy areas and inland marshes and stuff like that. That they get pretty freaking big.
Funny, all the time I've been here in North Carolina, I haven't seen one.
I've lived here, and I've lived here even when I was a kid, and for a certain amount of years, and I never actually saw. I mean, I've seen one from afar. I went to a gator farm in South Carolina. That's not technically here, so that makes no sense. Okay.
Yeah. Now, at the time you're listening to this, it would already pass, but us recording right now, we're an hour or so away from the
lunar eclipse. Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. Any of your astrologer people out there, I have a lot of the signs that are getting affected, but a lot of my signs are in the big signs that are supposed to be affected. So, yay!
But so,
to astrology.
On today's episode,
we're going back to a subject that I didn't really believe in. I knew, I guess, kind of people had encounter stories. And I made fun of you for encountering your gnome, and for a couple of years, ha, you gnome, why are you going to go outside and see your gnome? Right?
Well, funny, right?
Yeah, no.
I was waiting for that.
No. I saw one. I swear on my life, I saw one.
The fair folks seem to have a liking to us.
I think, too, it's the background. I mean, the background. Oh, the backyard is what I meant to say. Today is just... I've had, word vomit.
All right.
Ever heard of that?
That's when you talk too much.
Yeah.
Now you're just brain farting.
Yeah, it's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a good... Anyways.
Yeah.
So, we have, backyard forestry, I would call it. There's trees everywhere and vines and stuff like that. It looks very secret garden in a suburban neighborhood.
Mm.
So yeah. It's
I
perfect greenery for them, I guess.
I think it's us. Because if I saw one, and that was way before I had my ability now.
Yeah.
And you see one almost, several years later, they have some kind of liking to this area.
Yeah. Well, I think I was watching on TikTok a bunch of videos about psychics, how when they started going more into their abilities and honing it, one of the things that they would see would be gnome situations or fairy folk, the fae, but yeah, and it was so quick, and I keep saying and repeating in my head could have been a squirrel, could have been this, could have been that, and it was no, there's no way. No way. And it actually goes back. So I think I actually saw it twice. The first time I was in the backyard, but the first time that I saw something that I kind of anticipated as a gnome, we have this break in a tree in our yard. So it's kind of the tree stump goes up and then it breaks into the branches. And I was in the backyard with my son and my two younger brothers, and they had gone inside, and I was picking up all the little outside toys that they have. And I go and I look towards the tree and I see the top of someone's head, with a pointed hat. And I was, what the heck? Could that be a squirrel? Could that be a bird? We have all sorts of different, so we have all different kinds of small animals, birds, that kind of that, rarely comes in our yard and stuff. So I passed it off as that. As maybe it was some kind of animal I just saw in a weird way, and it shadowed, did something, it gave me that idea that it was that. But there was one time I had gone outside, and it was so random. I had gone outside and I was talking to Isaac, and I was waiting for him to come home because he was, I don't know, like 5 minutes away. And all of a sudden I looked towards our neighbor, which her backyard is, she has a lot of greenery. A lot of places that I would assume if we did have fairy folk or gnomes around, that would definitely be the yard. She doesn't even go in the backyard that often, like animals, so that would make sense. But in between her car, like the wheels, I saw this like little thing, like essentially what a gnome would look like, or what people have described a gnome to look like. I saw it rush from one tire to the next and then disappear by the time I like was able to focus in and say like, whoa, what the heck was that? And it was during the day, but it was like dusk. So yeah. And I was joking around with Isaac saying, well, I've never seen a gnome. That's funny. I've never seen it. Because you were like actually like freaked out by.
Because I saw it twice.
Yeah, I saw it technically twice, because it was the same kind of like shadow thing I saw in between the trees was the same thing that I saw that ran. But this time I saw like the full body. Like it literally was like a little person with a hat, like your typical garden gnome. And it had to be maybe like a foot tall, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah. And I used my, I think of the picture we posted on Instagram, my blue water ball for a size comparison, because it was almost the same size. Where it stood, and it was like hidden behind the bushes, and it was leaning out. And I remember all I was seeing was just a shadow silhouette of it, but I remember seeing the shape of the hat.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? And I was looking at it, and I was like, if I look at it, it kind of moves back, and I kind of like ran over there thinking that I seen a cat. What's going on? Flash my flashlight in there. And most people were like, wait, you ran over there? I was like, yeah, I deal with ghosts all the time, so.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like, I've always said that we've experienced most things we talk about, but not everything. But I didn't ever thought that, a gnome would be on the list of things I experienced.
Yeah, definitely. And two, it kind of started, after I saw that, I actually stumbled upon a video, and it's by, she has a channel where she talks about, like, creepy stuff. Tati's Creepy Stories. And she's on TikTok, and she had this story because apparently she had encounters with gnomes, or in other cultures they're called duendes. She had posted a story about her encounter, and then there was this photo that's been kind of like going around of like these boxes of gnomes that they found in an old tobacco shop in Stockholm, Sweden. And apparently the story behind the picture is that a witch in the 1700s was dealing with, I guess, your typical like house gnome. And she caught the gnome stealing from her, so she got, like knocked it off in a sense, killed it. Or, like tried. Anyway, so she put him in the box. And apparently there's a thing that, if you mess with one, they're all going to come for you. And there is also superstitions and stuff like that. If you like step on their house or you kill one of them, there's like weird things that happen that we'll get to in the episode as well. So yeah, she had multiple gnomes captured and killed. I want to say killed. I guess that's what she did. Killed, stopped them, froze them. I don't know. But they're in the boxes.
Petrified. I mean, if it's real, granted, it can be easily faked, but the way it looks is like they were mummified.
Yeah.
They were captured, put in glass things, and they weren't able to move, and they were forever trapped in those glass cases.
Yeah, which is crazy. And it was found. Could you imagine finding that amongst Christmas trinkets?
I'm like, what the hell is Grandma having her damn bannock? What is this? Like, this is the creepiest. Like, we need to throw these things away. They look like they.
Well, it's crazy because, and that's what resonated with me is they seemed a little bit bigger than what I saw, or probably that you saw. But look-wise, I could totally, and the way the skin was sunken, like you said, like mummified, it like kind of like blew my mind. Like someone that's really good at special effects and stuff like that in terms of like making actual things. But I think they said that this was found in the 1960s.
Mm.
And so in the 1960s, the stuff wasn't that great to be able to make something like that up. So, I don't know.
Well, I mean, taxidermy and stuff like that, and doll makers, you could even try doing that stuff, but I was saying someone really would have to put effort into making that.
Yeah.
In the day, anyway.
Yeah. And then too, in the day, like in the 1960s, like weird stuff like that you didn't have like horror creators or stuff like that were like, let's make, like mummified gnomes.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely weird. So definitely go check it out. All you gotta do on TikTok is type in gnomes, because there's not that many videos, and it pops up. There's another that covers it called Night God 333, and backstory of the photo as well. Also Cosmic Miggy, if you guys have ever heard of him, he's on TikTok as well. He actually came on one of our episodes as a bonus like guest episode, and he actually talks about an encounter that his aunt had where she claims to be, or her story is that she was captured by gnomes when she was younger. So yeah, go check that out, because I don't want to like spoil it on here. I want you to go. He also has it on his TikToks detailing everything too, and I'll link that on our Instagram and stuff so you can see it. But upon when I did the research, I went to different videos about gnomes, and apparently a lot of people have encountered gnomes. In the United States, I saw people from Washington, people from Florida, people from up north, people from California, like New Mexico, like it's all over America. And it's not just like in this area that gnomes are talked about. In Hispanic culture, in Mexico, there's duendes. In the Philippines, they also call them duendes. Spain, duendes. Portugal, they have a whole bunch. But I found what was interesting is a lot of people in the comments kind of shared what their stories that they've been told, passed down from their, I guess, elders and stuff like that, of encounters and stuff like that. What, I guess, like advice on what to do and what not to do when it comes to gnomes and duendes and stuff like that. One thing was, do not leave children's toys outside. And this person was from Mexico, and so that's one thing that they've always been told is don't leave toys outside or duendes will mess with it. Another thing is don't take any gifts from them. So if you find something unusual in the yard, don't take it. Another thing was to leave candy for them. If you appease them, they'll leave you alone, kind of thing. There's some ideas too that basically they're earth spirits protecting the land, protecting nature, stuff like that. And normally, you technically, like, it's kind of weird that we've encountered them in like a neighborhood. Normally, it's like rural or countryside type areas.
Yeah, but it's funny. Yeah, a lot of these sightings on camera has been sighted been sighted in Mexico and South American country.
Yeah.
Which there is a legend amongst the Aztecs or somebody, one of the tribes down there, about a group of people that were tiny people that exist. I forgot the names of them. But the Gnomes and the Duendes, right? There's always stories like that. Funny enough, I remember hearing a story, in TikTok or something.
Mm-hmm.
But a guy, a musician, was walking down the street or something, and he heard commotion of like little things. He walked over and he saw in the woods a little gnomes, duendes, right, throwing down, and he was like, "Oh shit!" And he told him, "Hey, the gnomes told him, hey, if you play for us, we'll give you these gold coins, right?" Wow. And they showed him, and he was like, "All right," because he wanted the money and stuff like that. So he started playing it for him. He played for maybe 45 minutes to an hour, right? And they gave him the gold coins to thanks for for playing for us, right? And he goes home to show his wife the gold coins, and she opens the door and she goes, "What?" And she's like she saw a ghost or something, right? And he goes, it's been, like, he goes, "Well, why you look at me like that?" It's like, "I thought you were dead. It's been years." He's like, "What do you mean been years? I was only gone for an hour." He's like, "No," it's like we all thought you died, and like I remarried and stuff like that, and like I guess her best friend or whoever at the time, the guy showed up, was like, yeah, we thought you were dead. Like we looked for you, we could never find you, and it's been it's been years. We don't know. Like,
Okay, that's just normal. Oh my gosh.
yeah. So some kind of time paradox or something. Like he might have was it a theory that I remember you were saying something about like how they're from another dimension or another period of time. He might have slipped into their dimension where time moved slow for him, but moved fast for everybody else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was this idea that they come to like our world through portals, and then also that they're interdimensional beings. They're from another dimension. But yeah, so Spain actually has. It's kind of like in the Mexican culture, they're either like good or evil. There's no like outside. They're just good or evil. There's no outside names. Apparently, though, Spain has a bunch of like categorized. I don't even know, like species of gnome, I guess you could call it.
Mm-hmm.
They have one that's basically similar to nymphs from ancient Greece. They're extremely beautiful, long flowy hair, flower crowns. They go from normal size to human size, and they stay by fountains, rivers, and springs. They only come out at night, and they bless the waters, trees, farms, and herds. Sorry, that looked like turds. I'm not gonna lie on my notes. But they're called Anahanas, I think. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. There's another one called Buscosos, which is tall, bearded duendes dressed in moss and leaves. They have helped humans repair barns and homes that have been damaged. Another one is the Trascosos, which is known as the mischievous ones. They enter homes through chimneys and they steal things. So a lot of it's crazy because we have the typical garden gnome, and that's the thing is like people don't know where the garden gnome is originated. There's a team, I forgot what university. There's a team of people that literally are dedicated to kind of researching about gnomes and how we came up with the idea of a garden gnome, because there's no actual like written like timeline as to where we originally got the idea of a garden gnome. So, yeah. And if Aztec people or like a ancient tribe of Mexico or stuff is talking about that, even from all the way back then, where the heck did the garden gnome come from?
I mean, it can easily like a lot of things from our folklore and stuff like that are merchandised and stuff turned in for money and stuff like that. Santa Claus, and so his origin story has changed over time just for selling monies. But I can see how garden decor could add in gnomes and stuff like that, and make them look friendly with little beards and stuff like that, smiling and stuff like that. And then elves, right, are associated with Santa Claus and stuff like that. So you get that mixed with other things, and they change kind of what elves and gnomes being not mischievous or dangerous or evil, and that by making them more friendly and good and stuff like that. To be market well, because no one wants to put a gnome in their garden, if to look nice, but find out, it's like, oh, it's an evil symbol or something.
Yeah. So Portugal also has backstories of them. And theirs is basically, like they wear the big hats. Theirs is a little bit like, kind of like creepier. Apparently, the duendes from that region lure children into the forest. So that's scary. And then in like Latin American cultures, they're the helper of people who get lost in the forest. But there's also this weird thing too I kept reading about the duendes in certain cultures is that apparently they clip toenails of children. That was one like thing that was talked about. So I don't know what they do with the toenails,
Like eat them.
Tasty treat.
Yeah.
Salty. Ew. But like you said, it exists all the way back to like the ancient kind of tribes of Mexico, and they believe that you would find like duendes in mossy cloud forest in the mountain range. And then, of course, you have the Philippines, which they also heavily believe in duendes. And they believe that they dwell in rocks and caves, old trees, dark houses, anthills, and termite mounds. And they have the choosing to be evil or good. But if you step on them or step on their house, anything associated with them will automatically become cursed. There's also the idea, too, that you could become possessed by one, which I find interesting. Interesting. So yeah, another thing is that which a lot of people have shot down this idea that they're just an evolved species, which I thought was interesting, but I don't really think I don't know. I don't know. It's still hard for me to wrap my brain around because I don't know, but I have seen what I think to be. So,
well, after this theory was proposed that I heard once, that Earth is a prison planet, in a sense that humans were sent here as punishment, or species anyway, to keep us separated from all other alien life. Hence why we haven't really contacted anybody. We always get like people coming in and viewing us, and sometimes making contact and capturing someone to experiment on, and that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, no direct contact, as far as we know.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, that we're just here by ourselves. And people are like, well, why have we had any contact? Yeah, an alien species should have, contacted us at some point in time, and made it like blatantly obvious by floating in the sky and stuff like that. No. So that's what that theory is, that we're a prison planet. And our ancient ancestors are the one that screwed up for the rest of us.
Yeah.
And if that's possible theory, that would make sense for why there's so many weird things that happen here. You think about gnomes, if they're tricksters and stuff like that, and they want to mess with humans, what better than mess with than the species that were imprisoned on the planet so they can't go anywhere, do anything, right?
Yeah.
And no one's going to give you shit for messing with these prisoners, right? The species that no one wants to deal with. So if gnomes, or even if the Fae themselves are interdimensional beings and can use magic or so forth, and transport from one dimension to the other just to come mess with humankind, that would make sense of why we can never really find them. And why they always hang in places where mankind isn't heavily populated. Which begs the question, why would they even hear and know where we live? I mean, we live in a neighborhood.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, every time, like, I think about gnomes and like, even the Fae and, like, fairy stuff, which, again, is a concept that's very hard for me to, I don't know why, it's just very hard for me to wrap my brain around.
We combat demons, and you're having a hard time with this.
Yeah, I don't know. But like I said, our next door neighbor, she's an older lady, and her husband used to be the one that would like attend to her yard and stuff. But once he passed, he hasn't really, which makes me think because she had asked me and Isaac if we can clear out some of her like stuff on her in her backyard. If we start find a house? I don't know. If we start messing back there, if that would
demon.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what I would do if I actually like saw something. Because it's like one thing you see ghosts, like the spiritual world, but see an actual like something like that, I don't know what I would feel like. I mean,
like, oh well, this is real too then. Okay.
Yeah. Whoa. But I thought it was interesting. There's actually on a show. This was a show back in 2013 to 2015 and aired on Discovery Channel. That there was an actual woman that went on there and talked about her gnome encounter. And it was a show called Destination Weird, but they had like a segment series called Monsters and Mysteries. And the lady's name was Tammy Thomas, and it took place in 1999, so going old school. Not really that old school.
How dare you?
I'm just kidding, everybody. I was born in the 90s. I was kidding.
I lived in the 90s. I was born in the 80s.
I know. Well, yeah, but not born in the 90s, but was a kid. Anyways, so this happened in 1999, and she goes on to say that her and her grandson came home from grocery shopping. Her grandson looked like he was, in the story depiction in the episode, looked like maybe like 8 or 9, like, young, but old enough to like get out and walk around himself. And it was like at nighttime. So after taking her grandson out and unlocking the groceries, man, told you words are coming through. Anyways, after taking her grandson out and unloading the groceries, Tammy lost track of her grandson. So she's going around her going, hey, I forgot the name of the grandson, but hey, we'll just call him Tommy. Tommy, where are you? Tommy, right? So she puts the groceries down and goes and looks, and she finds him, and he's just staring. And she asked her grandson, what are you looking at? And she could hear almost like a growl hissing. And how they do it in the actual show is like 90s. Like it was from 2013 to 2015, but it looked like, that movie, The Leprechaun or Korg? That's what they depicted it as. But
that shit me when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it depicted him as that.
Oh.
Anyways, but it was like, yeah, like how it was depicted in the actual episode. Anyways, so she said that she saw a creature staring back at them, like kind of like hissing and growling within a bush, and she said the only way she could describe what it looked like would be like garden gnome. But it's crazy, going back to encounter stories, like when you look on TikTok videos, look in the comments, because I like doing that. There's more people that know people that have had encounter stories, whether it's grandmothers or cousins or whatever. There's a lot of people that actually encountered gnomes. Like, I would probably put it on par almost as much as like the paranormal. Like, there's a lot of people that say they encountered gnomes.
Well,
yeah.
I kind of want to ask my dad, but I doubt he.
I bet you. I mean,
he's seen some weird stuff in Mexico. Seeing La Chusma, the giant white owl with the human a woman's face, supposed to be a witch, above a graveyard. He said he'd never seen that. Of course, some paranormal stuff happened to him when he was younger.
Yeah, didn't he have the weird story where, like, it was like, I don't know, something like it was about Star Trek, but it was before the show even came out or something like that?
Yes, but I don't remember the specifics.
I know. It was a weird thing. I was like, what? So, yeah.
So I guess a final theory on this. It's strange that gnomes and the fae folk, is worldly known.
Yeah.
And I would say it's funny. I don't remember ever hearing anything. I know Japan and China probably have their own stories too, as far east as they are, possibly even Australia. But you never hear a lot coming from there. Mostly what you ever hear is coming from like, old Europe areas and Spain and areas down there and farther west when it comes to us, excuse me, and Mexico and Brazil and Southern American countries. Hear a lot, and you can see it still to this day.
Yeah.
Not so much as over there. I always maybe wonder why this area, why here.
It's also evidence too. I don't think anybody has caught any clear evidence of, because it happens so fast. Like, I know with me, both times it happened extremely fast.
Well, they're supposed to be good at hiding, very fast, very quick, clever, tricksters, all the above.
Yeah.
When it comes to things like that, people want to say that interdimensional beings, creatures left behind, felt creations from the original creators of the human race. If you want to go into that theory. Like, they tried this and that, and like, this isn't working, threw those things out, threw this out. Or whoever created us created them along with at the same time, just to see, what they could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Create all these other things and give humans barely any ability to fight against them in a sense like that. But being interdimensional beings or separating through dimensions using magic is more of a probable answer.
Yeah.
Than saying they're always been here, and maybe they survived the flood and the other world-ending drastic things that ever happened. But it's always a story that doesn't have enough, we call it, I won't say evidence, but not enough volume behind it to give proof.
Yeah.
Like, you think about the supernatural, it's tons and tons of evidence and tons of experiences that still go on today and right in front of people.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that, it's almost like super keep secret, so much so that people don't believe. Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe they don't want to be found. Same goes for like Bigfoot, right? There's enough evidence to say that something could exist, but it's not enough to say that definite that it does.
Yeah.
Probably piss off a lot of Bigfoot listeners. Yeah. But
they exist.
But it's like they do whatever they can to make sure they're never found.
Yeah.
That shows intelligence.
Yeah.
So these creatures of the woods, of the Fae, you would say, never want to be found by humankind. They have some kind of cloaking abilities that prevent us from ever seeing them.
Yeah, because I thought it was interesting, like, even though I saw it at dusk and saw it during the day and even saw it the first time in the backyard, I think I have, when I went to take a picture, it darted away, but the first time. But it was like a shadow. It was like it had a constant shadow on itself. Like, you could see the outline of the little hat and everything. And, like, the fact that it looked like a little human is the best way to describe it. You couldn't see, like, I couldn't see his face. I couldn't. And it was crazy because it was the exact same way that you described it, where it was, like, running in between the cars. Because she only has one car, and that's how I saw it. It was running from one to another. And it, like, didn't look at me, it just, like, did it. But it was on the opposite side, so where you saw it was, like, if you're standing directly facing the house, you saw it to the right, which was in our driveway, and I saw it on the left side, which was in her driveway. So.
But, like most subjects we talk about, that's always going to be continuing. Especially with these, because as much as I don't want to look at it, but I'm pretty sure we're going to encounter some kind of damn gnomes again.
Yeah. I kind of want to, like, leave stuff out for them and see if...
Oh, you weren't supposed to give them shit.
No, you could give them offerings. It's supposed to be, like...
Give them a little shovel.
A little shovel?
Yeah.
But, like, no, they say, like, you're supposed to leave them candy, like, little trinkets. And, like...
They don't leave the toys out, but Killian's toys lived outside all the time.
Yeah, I know.
They're always still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they don't want it. You don't want these pieces of crap.
No. No, could you imagine them taking the little monster trucks?
Killian will hunt them down.
Yeah. I know you took my Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I know you took, what's the other one? Grave Digger. Northern Nightmare, give me mine back.
Factory know all these, yeah.
Yeah, that shows you have a parent, like, that you have a parent. Oh, see, what is this? I'm, like, saying stuff that doesn't make sense.
Anyway, so that wraps us up for today.
Yeah.
What's going on next week?
So next week, actually, these next couple episodes I'm extremely excited about, but next week I am also extremely excited about, because we are going back to talk about haunted locations, creepy, like, legends of an area, and it is New Orleans.
New Orleans, where I get the Don Madge Southern gentleman accent.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so there's some New Orleans, got some pretty creepy places. I already started researching, and yeah.
Yeah, so look for that next week.
Yes.
Yeah, look right there next week. As always, guys, you can catch our social media at Hidden the Shadows Podcast on Instagram, Hidden Shaw6 on Twitter, Hidden the Podcast 2 on TikTok, or links to all social media, and always listen to us at hiddenshadowspodcast.com. There's always links to our merch store where you can buy some stuff. Yeah, so as always, we'll catch your weirdos in the next one.
Yep.